This podcast is part of the Batman Universe Podcast Network, hosted by the BatmanUniverse.net. Check out everything related to Batman and the entire Bat family at the BatmanUniverse.net, including news and original content related to comics, movies, television, merchandise, video games, and more. Also, check out some of the other unique podcasts that TBU has to offer. Consider supporting this podcast by becoming a patron on Patreon. Even $1 can go a long way in supporting this content that you enjoy. Look for a link over at thebatmanuniverse.net to offer your support now. And now, on with the show.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Bat-Fans. Yes, we're still here. This is episode 190. My name is Tim. I'm going to be doing the hosting duties for this episode, but joining me, as always, is Dane. Dane, how's it going?
You know, I'm doing good. A lot of good TV, Mandalorian, Watchmen. I know you've been watching the Harley Quinn.
Just started watching. The first episode just premiered yesterday. But
you did see the premiere episode, but
yes.
A lot of great TV I've been watching. But Tim, I wanted to ask you, on your Disney Plus account, what picture do you have as your avatar?
Very good question. So obviously it has to be something Star Wars related.
Of course.
I was hoping for a little more selection, but maybe down the line they'll add some more. But right now it's of the Mandalorian. Another one. You had your typical, Darth Vader, there's BB-8, but given how the Mandalorian is the big new selling feature of Disney Plus, I figured I'd go with that one. And he's just proven to be a great character already, so I'm totally okay with him being my avatar picture. But we'll see what they add later on. But I gotta ask, what's yours, Dave?
Vader. I was gonna go for the Mandalorian, but I figured everybody would pick the Mandalorian. And some people might pick BB-8, and so I ended up just picking Vader.
A safe choice, but again, you can't go wrong.
Yeah,
Vader. That's any avatar for anything.
Oh, you know what I wanted to ask you, Tim? Did you beat Fallen Order yet?
Not yet. I'm not sure. I'm trying to. I don't want to try to look up if I'm halfway or I'm close to being done because I might get some spoilers no matter what I type in or try searching for. But I'm pretty well into it, I believe.
What part are you on?
Did you beat it?
Yeah.
Okay, you beat it, so I won't be spoiling anything for you.
No.
Okay, so spoilers for anyone who's listening and playing the game in case you're not at this part yet. So last night, I just finished the flashback of Order 66, where he lost his master. That was really cool.
You're on, that was pretty cool. You're on Dathomir?
Yeah, I just finished Dathomir, and I'm on Ilum now, which was a nice surprise. I did get spoiled on the Order 66 sequence, just a random YouTube video recommendation that popped at Order 66, Fallen Order. Like,
Yeah, you definitely don't want to... Let me think about this for a second. You're going to be like, of course this is happening at the end, right?
Okay.
But you don't want to be spoiled on it. So don't look at anything.
Yeah, I'm trying not to.
Yeah.
Man, between the Fallen Order and Rise of Skywalker spoilers and new footage being out there almost every day now. There's so much Star Wars stuff you got to try to dodge before you get to experience it for yourself.
Yeah.
But since you beat it, what did you think of it overall?
The story was, for the most part, lackluster.
Really? Because I've heard the exact opposite.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Until you get to the Dathomir stuff and the flashbacks and what happened with your master, and you see, I'm trying to remember and trying not to spoil this for you, Tim. Did you touch the wall yet?
Dathomir?
Yeah, in Dathomir. Did
Yeah,
you get to the temple?
I'm off Dathomir, so I just finished where I'm just about to start Ilum.
Oh, okay. So you saw that you have to fight your master.
Yeah, I did
Yeah.
that.
Okay. All right. Yeah. That's when it starts getting really, really good for me, anyway. And the ending, I was like, yeah, of course that's happening. How could you not in a Star Wars game?
Mm.
But I still really liked it. It's still a really, really cool event.
Okay.
Yeah. It's really hard because it's looking you right in the face, Tim. Like, you as a Star Wars fan should know what happens.
Okay.
Yeah. But that's all I'll say.
Thank you. Yeah. That's enough to still get me excited to keep going. And obviously I'm going to keep going no matter what, but just anxious to see how the story plays out. Because like I said, I thought you were going to say the story was lackluster throughout the whole game. That's why I said I've heard the exact opposite, because it gets really good at the end. So
it gets really good at the end, but for, I'd say, like 75% of the story, 3/4 of the story, it's just, well, I mean, I guess besides I really like the beginning, how you're on that trash planet.
Yeah.
And you got to escape the trash planet and stuff. I wish there was another big sequence like that, a scripted sequence like that, but, well, there's kind of a scripted sequence at the end, but, yeah, I just wish there was more, I guess, intrigue to the story. It's more of a fetch quest, like just a really big fetch quest.
That's true.
But like you said, once you get more towards the end, more towards the Order 66 stuff, it starts getting more interesting. Also, I wish the mechanics worked a little better. I don't know if it's because I'm on the old Xbox, and maybe you're having an easier time on the new Xbox, but some of the fighting mechanics I had a really hard time with because it got a little choppy, and it just wasn't working as fluid as some other games do.
Yeah, I think we talked about on our last episode when we were giving our first impressions on it, how the Xbox One S, the white one, is doesn't run well on that system compared
really
to the
doesn't.
others. So I haven't had issues with it being choppy or anything during combat. I've finally gotten better with the combat and better at parrying and blocking lightsaber attacks than I was at the first start of it. But not performance issues wise, I haven't had really any problems with it.
Yeah, I'm not so much talking about the performance issues. I'm talking about the I don't know what you call it, the combat fluidity. It felt at certain parts that I couldn't block anything. Like they would get one hit on me and do a massive combo.
Yeah, well, that happened to me a lot. So I think that's just how the game is designed, really.
Yeah, especially the last fight, when you're fighting this person. It's like, it took me like 3 or 4. The final fight is really, really hard. It took me like 3 or 4 tries to get it down. That's with the BB-8. I mean, not the BB-8. BD-1 health canisters or health injections and stuff. And it's just the combos, man.
Yeah, they've had most bosses. I've died multiple times.
Yeah.
Every time I fight an Inquisitor, it takes a little bit.
Oh yeah, those Inquisitors are way overpowered. It's like it's like they move 10 times faster than you.
And like I said, the combos, once they get one hit and they just keep going and you can't block it.
Especially during the last part of the game, the final stage, you're fighting like 2 or 3 Inquisitors at a time, and so that like there's the Inquisitors with the guns, or those Imperial,
the Purge Troopers.
Yeah, the Purge Troopers, and you're fighting the these Inquisitors with with these giant axes, and the ones with the dual blades and the ones with the staves, and yeah, it gets really tough.
I believe it. It's
Yeah.
definitely a game that's been challenging for the most part when in combat. So knowing that the last level ups the challenge even more is not a huge surprise. We'll see how I do.
Yeah. Expect to run out of force power a lot.
I don't have to try to max everything out much as I could before
Yeah,
it gets to that final sequence. But
yeah, especially your force power. Um, Definitely get that one up. I wish I did that
yeah,
more than more than life, my health. But in the end, yeah, it was a good game. I just wish they worked out the technical stuff better.
mm,
I wish they kind of worked on the fighting mechanics a little more. But the story and especially the voice acting slash mocap acting was really really good.
yeah. Glad to hear it that you enjoyed it because I've been hearing nothing but good things from those who beat it. I know it's taken
Yeah.
me a little longer, but that's par for the course with me in video games these days. So I hope. So I'm on Ilum now. Would you say I'm halfway there?
Yeah,
Close to
you're
being
more than halfway. So
okay.
so you're gonna go from Ilum to,
Well, you don't have to say where I'm going next. Just all you have to say is more than halfway. That's fine.
well, I mean, okay, okay, I won't say.
You just leave it at
Yeah,
that.
yeah, it's pretty obvious where you're going next, but
Okay.
yeah,
So yeah, maybe by the time we do our next episode, I'll have it beat.
yeah. Well, the only reason why I beat it was because we had the 2 day holiday
Sure.
going, yeah,
See,
going into the weekend.
I don't like just doing one thing whenever I have like a few days off, whatever. I like to just do other things. Put some time into a game, then put some time into reading some books, playing another game, watching movies, catching up on TV shows, stuff like that. So
Yeah,
I
yeah,
never really focus just on one thing for like the whole day.
yeah. Of course, but you know, I was just figuring this is the only chance I'm gonna get. Um, for a while until Christmas, I guess,
hmm
to actually sit down and have no distraction, not be tired, not having to go to sleep or whatever, to just play a video game. So I figured I'd just binge it, and yeah, it was definitely worth it. I liked it. Um, Especially, I think you're gonna really, as a Star Wars fan, Tim. I think you're really gonna like the last stage.
Nice. Yeah, I
Yeah,
know. Part of me's just really anxious to get there because, like I said, I've heard so many great things about it and
yeah.
raving from people who finished it. So I'll get there eventually, and I can't wait till when I do.
Yeah, and don't go on YouTube and get spoiled on it. And don't type in Fallen
I
Order.
have not. Yeah, ever since I saw that Order 66
Yeah,
image. So,
yeah, because I actually got spoiled on what happens in the end.
well, that's
Um,
even worse.
the yeah the big event at the end. So, and it was on
Yeah.
Twitter, no less.
Well, see, with video games, you got to give more time for spoilers to start
Yeah,
talking about that. Like at least a month, I think.
yeah, that's true. Well, I mean, there are people that beat it in a day.
Yeah, I know. They got to be more considerate. But yeah, so that's our latest on catching up with Jedi Fallen Order. Our progress on that. Dane's beat it. I haven't. So I
Yep.
got to do a little catching up, which I'll do the remaining few days. But I guess with that, we can go ahead and get into our Dark Knight Rises minute by minute commentary. We are going from minutes 138 through 139, or the 2 hour and 18-minute mark to the 2 hour and 19-minute mark. So, as always, we're at a pivotal point in the movie, so you want to get all your relevant media formats, your VHS player, your DVD player, your Betamax tape, your Laserdisc player, your Blockbuster memberships card, your Netflix physical media, your HD DVD, Blu-ray, and soon to be 4K, and the best of all, your VHS to DVD converter copy. So if you got all those ready to go, we can go ahead and start at the 2 hour and 18-minute mark. Dane, do you have all those ready to go for yourself? Do you have like tons of screens with all those players?
Of course,
ready to go?
But did you also say beta?
I did, yes.
Okay, all right. I just want to make sure the Betamax tape is in there.
Yeah, can't forget about that. It's a classic.
It's a classic that lasted less than a year.
Yeah. Gone but never forgotten.
But yes, I am ready, Tim.
Okay. I will give the countdown in 3, 2, 1, go. As we see the flashback continuing to Talia/Bane's origin.
Yeah.
And we knew this little girl was going to be in it. And we knew that she spoiled who she was
playing. Yeah. Are those ruins behind her?
It looked like it, or like a temple ruin. But this was also a pretty cool surprise, seeing the young Raish.
Yeah.
And they got a good actor to look like a young Liam Neeson there.
He's got the mustache and the goatee.
But there's a real Liam Neeson. And May's going to shed a tear.
Was that stock footage or was that Liam Neeson?
I want to say that was stock footage.
Yeah.
I think something taken from Batman Begins.
Yeah.
And we're going to end where we started. A look of sadness.
A shot of Bane.
Yeah. But that is our minute. We're close to 2 hours and 20 minutes, getting closer and closer to the end. But still got a ways to go with more cool stuff on the way. But with that, we can go ahead and get into our feature topic for this episode. And on this one, we're going to be continuing a TV-themed feature topic. We know we've had some of that in our last few episodes. So we're going to do some review/recap of some latest TV shows that we've been watching. Some had finales, some had premieres, and others are still going but have great episodes. So we're going to be talking about the season finale of Titans Season 2 and the premiere of the Harley Quinn animated series, both which just aired on the DC Universe app yesterday as we're recording this podcast. And then also get into the latest few episodes of The Mandalorian and Watchmen. So like you said at the beginning, Dane, a lot of good TV out there and just a lot of options to choose from for everyone in the geek world. So gotta talk about it because there's a bunch of stuff to talk about. So
I think you should start with Titans and the Harley Quinn show first, but I'm gonna put out a guess, Tim, for Watchmen about why you liked this latest episode, this extraordinary being.
Interesting. Okay.
Because it's the most comic booky of all the episodes we've gotten so far. But don't tell me the answer yet. Tell me when we get to the review.
Okay. Will do.
Yeah.
All right. So first off, I'm going to start with the Titans Season 2 finale and just, I guess, kind of go over a recap of the Season 2 in general, what I thought. The finale, a lot of great moments in it, but in the end, it was kind of a mixed bag. And that was pretty much the general feeling I have of Season 2 overall. They just had a lot of great concepts, great moments too, great episodes in there. But the problem with this season that they try to incorporate too many storylines with maybe one or too many characters, and the focus is going in different directions when it should be focusing on one aspect. And in my opinion, the main aspect of the season, what really drove it, and which was all the great stuff of Deathstroke, his involvement with the Titans, and Dick Grayson and his character arc as he finally made the progression to Nightwing in this episode. And that was a big highlight in the finale. Seeing Dick Grayson get his Nightwing costume was pretty cool, and it looks fantastic. Seeing Nightwing finally in live action, in my opinion, they nailed it. The suit looks great in live action. They captured the feel of how it looks in the comics and animated series that Nightwing's appeared in. It's got the blue logo, not the red, thank goodness. And it just looked great. And Brendan Dwight's, I always pronounce his last name wrong, so but he did a great job, I think, in this season, because Dick is kind of in a dark place throughout the season. He feels guilty about the main thrust of this season is how Deathstroke comes back into the picture, and he blames the Titans for killing his son Jericho. And in a way, Dick is very responsible for that, even though he didn't directly kill him. And Dick is holding on to that guilt for years, and now it just resurfaces over the course of the season when Deathstroke comes back and sees the Titans reform, and he wants to get his revenge on them. That made for some really great stories and episodes, and just seeing Dick deal with that. And that just really led into him becoming Nightwing and fully abandoning the Robin persona. And I felt they did a really good job with that. And in the finale, I should have said this at the beginning. This is a problem I've noticed I'm having, to forget to throw out the spoiler warnings before I start talking about certain things. So spoilers for the season 2 finale, just season 2 in general from here on out. So the episode begins pretty much with the Titans going out to save Beast Boy and Superboy, who Cadmus has captured and have brainwashed, and they're using Beast Boy to attack a carnival that's going on. Then they're going to use Superboy to go stop them, all just so they can have these other corporations bid on getting their own Superboys to use as weapons. So they just want to make a demonstration. So the Titans go out to rescue them, but as they're making their way there, Deathstroke attacks their car that they're in. And that's probably the highlight of the episode, because then later on, Nightwing makes his grand entrance, his debut, not only to Deathstroke, but to the Titans. He's been away from the team for a while. And they just have a really cool fight sequence. Seeing, like I said, that perfect Nightwing costume going against Deathstroke's great costume was just really cool to see as a diehard DC fan. It was a great fight. And then Rose comes in, Deathstroke's daughter, in her Ravager costume, which looked really cool too. And that was just a great fight sequence. But the problem with it is that this is my biggest problem with the finale, how the Deathstroke arc, like I said, was the main thrust of season 2, and it felt like they were in a rush to get it over with, and it ended in an anticlimactic way. Even as cool as the fight choreography was between Nightwing, Ravager, and Deathstroke, the way it ended just felt very anticlimactic. Rose ends up stabbing Deathstroke, because that was another big thing in the season where Jericho has the metahuman ability to transfer his life force into other people's bodies. So when she saw that he was killed, Deathstroke stabbed him accidentally, but still, like I said, still blamed the Titans for getting him involved and for him doing that. But it was revealed later how Jericho used his powers to transfer himself into Slade's body, but Slade still have control over Jericho, is still kind of trapped in the subconscious. And so once Ravager stabs Deathstroke, Jericho transfers himself into Rose's body. So now both brother and sister are sharing that body. And they made you believe that Deathstroke is dead. They say as much, but I really hope he's not, because it'd be a waste of the character. He was done so well in this series, and the opportunity, they got to have that opportunity to bring him back at some point if they wanted to. Plus, we know Deathstroke has that, superhuman healing ability, so he could still be alive even though they think he's dead. But they just left it there. They say he's dead. They don't show what they do with the body. That's just the last of the mention of him. It just ended very quickly, and as much as this was the main story thread of the season, the fact that it kind of got rushed to the wayside and stayed for the first act of the finale, I felt was a mistake. It should have been saved for the final, big climactic action sequence to end the season on, but they felt they had to put it first, and in the end, doing that, it didn't get the justice it deserved, I felt. So that was disappointing, because then they focus on the Cadmus story arc, dealing with Beast Boy and Superboy. And so they end up going against them. Dick is able to use Raven's power to enter Superboy's subconscious, and is able to help him come out of being brainwashed and under Cadmus's control, and they defeat them. Mercy Graves was in charge and working obviously under Lex Luthor. This is all his scheme. They don't actually show him, but they mention him a lot, and they make it obvious that this is all his doing. So they're able to free Superboy and Beast Boy from the mind manipulation of Cadmus and save the day. Everyone's happy. And then out of the blue, this electrical tower, or this lights, I forget exactly what it was, it just falls due to the damage caused during the battle, and it's going to fall on some civilians along with Dove, who's doesn't obviously have any powers to stop it. And then Donna Troy rushes in to stop the tower, the lights to fall on civilians and electrocute everybody. But in the process, she gets electrocuted and ends up dying, saving these people and Dove. And it just felt kind of out of the blue and unnecessary. It just didn't ring true as a way for the character to go out. It just didn't feel right when you're watching it, especially also too when you got Superboy there who can easily do the same thing and could withstand that electricity pulse. And you can maybe make the argument he was still recovering from being brainwashed, but I don't know. He seemed pretty alert and ready to go and do what he wanted to rush over there and stop that lighting tower from falling and saving the people there. But Donna Troy acted first, and she's the one who died from it, which, I know she dies in in the early Titan stories, so that wasn't a huge surprise. It's just the way it was handled. I think it would have been better if somehow Deathstroke was the one who killed her, and that would harken back to the early episodes, how he killed Aqualad, who she had a relationship with, and it would just be another blow that Deathstroke would give to the Titans, even though, at the end they probably would have defeated him. So it just would have a better thematic feel to it if she went out a different way than how she did in this episode. So that was something I thought could have been handled better as well. And so the rest of the episode is the Titans dealing with the loss of Donna Troy, but at the same time coming together as a team, as a family. And there's some great stuff between Bruce and Dick in this episode too, because we know they've made it very clear in season 1, Dick had a strained relationship with Bruce, and they're slowly, as the season went on, trying to make amends with that. But Bruce is always in Dick's head, kind of playing his subconscious and getting Dick back into gear and telling him what he needs to do, while at the same time telling him what his faults are. All that stuff with Bruce as Dick's subconscious in certain episodes was done really well, but it was great to see them interact for real one-on-one in this episode. So that was all great. And so the season ends with them, like I said, becoming the full Titans team finally, even though some characters aren't there anymore. Raven left with some other Amazonians to the Mascara to be with Donna Troy. She wants to see if she can revive her in some way. Jason Todd left the team. So it's really just Nightwing, Starfire, Hawk and Dove, and Beast Boy, and Ravager, and Superboy. I think I got everyone covered. So they're the main thrust of the Titans now. So I'm sure Raven will come back in season 3. Jason probably will too. And I'm excited for season 3 because the team looks to finally be together. Hopefully they won't be as divisive and split up as they were in this season, and them just forming the team in season 1. So I really want to see them as a team fully established, doing missions and fighting whatever villain they're going to face in season 3 together without so much divisiveness and them needing to come together in the end. We've had that for 2 seasons now, so it's time for just the Titans team to be in full force and ready to go. So overall, this season I enjoyed it, but wasn't as good as I think it could have been with having Deathstroke be the main villain and bringing in Connor Kent and Superboy. Those stuff were good, but sometimes the focus, like I said, shifted too much in other directions. And they had other subplots with Starfire and what her issues going on in her homeworld, where the sister Blackfire being brought into the mix. So this certain areas, the story was going in too many different directions when it needed to be more focused. And that kind of was what happened in the finale as well. So in the end, I still enjoyed it. The Deathstroke stuff and Dick Grayson stuff was great, like I said, and that, I think, reason alone to still check out the season in these episodes. So if I were to rate the season as a whole, I'd probably give it a 3.5 out of 5. Some really solid episodes and great character moments, but they didn't quite live up to the expectations I had going into it of how great it could have been. So yeah.
So Batman isn't in that show then? No,
just Bruce Wayne. Ian Glenn is just Bruce. That was another thing I was wondering if we'd actually see Bruce don the cape and cowl and be Batman, but we didn't get any of that.
I see.
And I didn't felt it needed as well, because it definitely was just focusing on Dick and the Titans. Maybe later on we'd get to see him as Batman, but I felt for this season there wasn't really a need for that. As cool as it would have been, but it wasn't something that I felt would have made it any better.
What is called Titans? It's not called Batman and Titans.
I'm just glad we got Bruce in there.
Yeah.
I thought Ian Glenn did a good job overall, even though it was a different portrayal for Bruce Wayne that we've seen before. But in the end, I thought it worked well. So yeah, that's my review of Titans, the season 2 finale. And now we can get into the Harley Quinn episode, which had its premiere yesterday. And I said this in a tweet, and I'm just going to start with that. We know Batman and his characters, his universe, has been adapted and portrayed in many different ways. Very dark, very campy, a nice mixture of both. But this one for Harley Quinn did not work for me at all. I'm sorry to say. I did not like this first episode and just the tone this series is setting so far. I mean, I knew going into it, they're going for some wacky humor, extreme violence, language. I mean, they're going the Deadpool route. They made that pretty clear. They didn't break the fourth wall too much. Maybe I just didn't pay attention to certain aspects of it, but I don't think they did at all. So that's one thing they didn't have. But it just, the portrayal of the characters and the humor they tried to display in it just didn't click for me. I mean, the jokes did not land at all between Harley, Joker, Riddler, just the interactions between Poison Ivy and Harley. Just some of it felt like sitcom-y as well, comedy movies that aren't funny. It just, nothing about the humor worked for me. And just the character portrayals were just way over the top. Even some characters you wouldn't expect, like Commissioner Gordon, who was just this, overworked, overtired, and just someone who's about ready to snap. He looked like someone who could be in Arkham for the most part. And I did not like seeing these Batman characters portrayed this way. Again, they can be adapted in many different ways, and maybe this is a version that will click and work for some people, but it did not for me at all. And the over-the-top use of the violence and the language, it felt forced to me. It's the direction they wanted to go for, but to me, it's not something that helps the series in any way. Just nothing about it really worked for me. I will say the basic story premise was fine, was what you expect to see in a Harley TV show, how she's trying to, break away from the Joker, but she just can't. She always goes back to him. It's stuff we've seen before with Harley, but I did like how Poison Ivy is trying to get her out of that relationship, and she has this big elaborate scheme to make her realize that Joker is not good for her, where she teams up with the Riddler and to make her see how the Joker truly loves his relationship more with Batman than he does with Harley, because there's the big end sequences where Riddler has Batman and Harley trapped, and he makes the Joker choose which one to live and die, and he chooses to save Batman because he obviously wants to be the one to kill Batman, and all that stuff we know that Joker, the Batman relationship has, and he just lets Harley to die. And that's what makes Harley realize that it's time for her to fully leave the Joker. But like I said, in the end, it was just a scheme by Harley, or by Poison Ivy. She used Riddler to orchestrate this whole thing. She wasn't really going to kill her or anything like that. She just wanted Harley to see how Joker would never put Harley first. So that stuff, as a story, it worked really pretty good, but just wasn't executed great for me with the humor and the, like I said, over-top violence and language and all this stuff that felt very, very forced. And the vocal performances, I thought, were solid for the most part. I thought Kelly Kuoko did a great job as Harley Quinn. And the plus for me, which I forgot, was hearing Diedrich Bader back as Batman from Brave and the Bold. He didn't have a huge role in it, but it was just great hearing his voice as Batman again, because he did a great job in Brave and the Bold. But Alan Tudyk as Joker, it just didn't work for me. He didn't have quite the Joker voice that I felt fits for the character, but I know there were some people who enjoyed it and wanted to see Alan Tudyk play the Joker. So hopefully he delivered a good performance for what you're looking for in the Joker. But for me, it's just one of those aspects of the series that didn't click. So yeah, this series is not for me. Probably not going to continue to watch it. So, which is a bummer, because I wouldn't say I was necessarily very excited for it, but the animation looked good. It's a new Batman series. Of course, I'm going to check it out. So I was looking forward to seeing it and how it would end up being, and it just wasn't for me. So a little disappointed with that. And I know some people are going into it with a view which was, I agree, is a good way to look at it. I was talking to someone on Twitter today named Philip Barker. He says, if you approach this as a show from Harley's perspective, and and he goes how extravagant as things happen in the series play out, it would be some that fits within Harley's crazy mind. And they kind of explore that a little bit in this first episode, where she thinks the Joker proposes to her, ends up being something totally different, but in her crazy warped mind, he was proposing to her and saying, till death do us part meant they're going to be forever, but it was something totally different. So I can understand that, where if you're going into the series viewing it from Harley's perspective, there is going to be that over the top violence and I guess that language, but that doesn't, I think, apply to the humor that was used in this episode, because it just was not funny. I didn't laugh at all, and they were really pushing the humor in this episode for a lot of characters, and even Poison Ivy's big plant creature, like this fly trap, who was talking and was making these jokes. This was not funny at all. So this one is gonna be, let's see, if I were to rate it, I think I'm gonna go with a low one here. I'm gonna give it a 1 out of 5. There were just very few redeeming qualities about it for me. Like I said, the only thing being some of the vocal performances and just the basic plot of how Harley's trying to break away from the Joker, but everything surrounding that just was not executed well, in my opinion, at all. Just something that's not for me. I guess that's the best way I could say for it. We'll see if other people end up digging it, but this is one Batman interpretation of his characters that I'm not a huge fan of and won't be watching.
Is it the fact that they swear, or is it just the overall jokiness?
The humor was not funny. Yeah. It just, nothing about it made me laugh. And like I said, the over the top humor or the over the top language and violence, it felt forced, almost like we have to do this to push the envelope, to get people talking that they're seeing Batman characters like never before. And it just felt very forced to me, and doesn't add anything to the overall show, in my opinion. So
it's like they were trying too hard.
Yeah,
to be like a Deadpool kind of thing.
Yeah, a little too edgy and all that. So just not for me. So again, like I said, we'll see how other fans react to it, if it's successful or not. Maybe I'm going to be the odd one out. It just doesn't like this version of the characters on this type of humor. So, but we'll see. Yeah,
because I mean, I guess that would have been the only show that would have got me interested in subscribing to the DC Warner Brothers streaming service, but I don't know. I guess not.
No, well, not if you ask me.
Yeah.
You're definitely better off with Titan than especially Doom Patrol. So, because Doom Patrol is one that has humor that really works for that crazy out there scenarios they sometimes have in that show. But that's the total opposite, where the humor in that works for those type of characters and for their situation and stories, where in Harley and with these Batman characters, it just doesn't.
Does Doom Patrol, and I guess more specifically Titans, do they have that thing that Arrow and Flash and all these other TV shows have, where it's like it's the same alleyway in Canada?
No, they definitely do a better job of mixing up the locations of where these episodes take place, which is nice.
It's always the same dark alleyway.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's the set that they reuse, or if that's just the location that they go to for all the CW shows. But
now, there are dark alleys in these shows, but they're not used to the extent of how much they are in those other network shows, where it's almost every other episode you see that alley.
Well, compared to like The Flash and Arrow, where you have the protagonist, Arrow or Flash, right? And then they always have to have a love interest, which is so-and-so, right?
Mm.
Is Titans better in that they don't have that same premise?
Yeah, it does feel different. I mean, there are some relationship stuff in there, of course, but It's mainly with Hawk and Dove, and it makes for some compelling episodes just to see where their relationship began, where it ends up as superheroes. So, but that was one aspect of season 2 where I felt it didn't need as much focus as it got compared to the other stuff that was going on in this season. So, but it's not as melodramatic as all those CW superhero shows and stuff. So that's what makes it a little more tolerable for me.
I see. I don't know. It's like I hear your glowing reviews, Tim, every single time we do an episode of Bat-Fans. But I don't know. It's just something. Is it just a CW show with cursing? Is it? Is it actually better where they don't get stuck in that same trap of the villain of the week sort of thing?
Yeah, it definitely doesn't have a villain of the week.
It's more of a, I don't know what you, a Watchmen type show where it's like it's one big massive story told throughout the season.
Yeah, not quite done as well as Watchmen, but
of
it
course,
is that same type of style where there is one overarching story, which should have been the main one, was Deathstroke. And like I said, that was great. But then you throw in these other subplots where it takes away from the focus on that, which makes it frustrating. Some of it's good, but some of it's like, you don't really need this here. Let's get back to the Deathstroke Titans conflict or more with Cadmus and Superboy, because those are the two main ones that worked well. But like I said, you throw in some of the Hawk and Dove drama that they went through, and then Starfire and was her sister trying to take over her own planet. And so there's this different plot threads for the characters. Maybe one or too many characters got the spotlight where maybe they should have been held back, because you could make the argument there are too many characters on the show and they feel they need to give them their due, but it takes away from the stories you're really interested in.
Okay, so it's not like a villain of the week sort of thing where it's like, okay, so now it's going to be this villain we made up called, I don't know, Doorman, where he fights you with doors or something.
It's like you created the next great villain, Dane.
Yeah. It's not like a disgruntled doorman who, I don't know, fights you with doorknobs and throws doorknobs at you.
The sack of doorknobs.
Yeah. It's not like that where it's like, okay, so this is a guy that I'm never going to see again this season. And maybe never next season.
No.
Right? Okay. So it's more of a big story where it's kind of like, it's a bigger story that doesn't really have that villain of the week feel.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't.
Okay.
There's a lot of episodes are kind of done in flashbacks too that just fill in the gaps and explain the history and story of the main conflict, like with Deathstroke and with his family, like I said, with his son Jericho and his involvement with the Titans. There's some great flashback episodes too that only help with the main story. So there's a lot of episodes that are done that way too, instead of the villain of the week, which is nice.
Speaking of which, I think Star Wars Rebels does a real good job with the villain of the week thing. They do that, but they actually make it interesting.
There are, in season 2, there are a few episodes that felt like that, because season 2 is a longer season than season 1, so there are a few fillers in there. But for the most part, I would agree they did a great job of just really focusing where they need to. But when there are some one-off episodes, they're still pretty engaging as well.
Right. I don't know. I might give the free trial if they still have a free trial.
They should. I'd definitely recommend giving it a shot. If anything else, the stuff with Dick Grayson is all done great, and Brendan Twight's performance, I think, is done really, really well. And it's just great seeing a great portrayal of Dick Grayson in live action finally. And seeing him eventually turn into Nightwing too. So I think it's worth it.
Not a Chris O'Donnell fan, Tim.
He doesn't, do any laundry to show off his fighting skills in this series, so that's a plus.
or no, you see, here's the real question, Tim. Does he have the plastic lips?
So one aspect of this version of Dick Grayson that's missing, yes, unfortunately, he doesn't.
I guess I'm not gonna watch Titans then.
That's a deal breaker.
That's the
Oh
cliff.
man, I forgot about that one. But anyway, moving on from Batman and Robin and Robin's fake lips, let's talk about Watchmen, the last 2 episodes. And boy, talk about great comic book TV the last few weeks. You're going to find it on Watchmen, man. We got some really, really great episodes. And I guess to start off with not last week's, but the week before, which dealt on Looking Glass and his origin story and how his character is fitting into the bigger scheme.
Oh, Tim, I really wanted to ask you when I first saw it. So, Looking Glass was a Jehovah's Witness.
Yeah, that was a surprise. But
yeah, I was like, is that the Watchtower?
They definitely got the Watchtower.
Yeah.
But the way they portrayed of how, I guess, the preaching aspect of it worked,
right.
Not
so much
well portrayed.
Yeah. but did you know they're dressed as, or did you realize they're dressed like Dr. Manhattan?
I actually didn't pick up on that.
Yeah, when they go to, or when him and, what's her name, Janie?
Okay.
Janie Slater, right?
When they go to that fair, or
when they go to the fair, they're wearing the white shirt with the tie and the overcoat.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Now that you mention it, you're right. I totally didn't pick up on that.
But you're talking about, like, I guess, like, the message or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's not how you guys would do it.
It's just like how they did it, where first of all, it's all just young boys doing it. That's not really how it works. It's just, whoever's doing the preaching in a particular congregation, doesn't matter if it's, male or female, about having to keep them separate or not. It's just, they're all doing it together. And just going on a bus and doing it that late at night, it's not usually how
they're doing it at like 12 o'clock at night.
Yeah. And kind of saying that prayer out beforehand. You usually have a meeting before that in your congregation before you go out.
Oh, I see.
No, it just wasn't, how I experienced and how it works. So
it's not realistic in the Jehovah's Witness.
So I didn't even realize they were until they actually showed the Watchtower. There. So that was definitely a surprise. But
yeah.
But yeah, this, because I said before how Looking Glass was one of the cooler characters in the show and I wanted to see more of, and this one kind of solidified him as my favorite new character in this series. It was just great seeing him fleshed out and just seeing how he deals with certain aspects of the world and that's going on, and just that trauma of that night of being there for the squid attack. And it was just cool seeing visually on screen for the first time the giant squid in the destructive New York City. So that looked cool, and just the aftermath of how that affects not only Looking Glass but other people and the pretty much the mental illness that you get with it.
Yeah, like genetic trauma.
Yeah,
right. It's called like there was that one guy that at their meeting that wasn't even born yet, and like he or I'm not sure if this is a thing in the show, but the genetic trauma where it can be passed from his mother because his mother was there, and it can be passed to your child.
Yeah,
I just thought that was interesting. Like,
same here.
Like you can pass that down. I don't know if it's specific like that because of the psychic attack that also came with the squid attack, but I don't know. I just thought that was interesting.
Yeah, me too. Just like a new aspect of it. How it just wasn't a one and done thing, and that's it. People are living with the effects of that attack, and it's passing on to their children, which is obviously going to continue. Which again makes you think about it in a whole different way. And now we know why. That's pretty much the reason behind Looking Glass and his costume, because of that material that he has for his mask. It's what helps with his mind deal with the pain from that attack, and that's why he wears a hat all the time. It's laced with that material, and that's why he wears his mask as much as he could. And how he's just almost paranoid now for another attack like that, where he has this bunker and this alarm that alerts him when there possibly might be another attack from the giant squid, and when they get those squid rain that comes out we saw in the first episode. So there's all this new aspects added to the character that just makes him a just layered character who, understand what he's going through once you see him in the series and how he acts and just how he goes about his business. And then again, how it just plays into the investigation of the 7th Cavalry and how he gets into that mix now, where he looks like he's going to solve the case of the one and find the guy who actually shot the police officer in episode 1 and finds their hideout. But it ends up being they lured him there on purpose because maybe I'm not remembering, but I can't remember exactly the exact reason why they wanted to bring him in there and get him in and let them know what they're doing. But we do get the reveal that Senator Keene is mixed in with the 7th Cavalry. He's pretty much in charge of it, and how.
Well, I think it was to show Looking Glass that it was a big hoax, because there's that video of Adrian Veidt or talking to, I guess, President-elect at the time.
Yeah, President Redford.
Robert Redford. So I think it was to show him that, to show that he's a victim of the world's biggest hoax.
Yeah.
I think might have been the exact wording, but I'm not sure. Yeah. Yeah,
because it just pretty much throws his whole world upside down. Everything his whole life up to that point was based around that attack, and then he finds out it's just a hoax. I mean, he lost his marriage because of it. Mm-hmm. He's in this, physical and mental pain that he has to deal with for most of his life after that. So it's had to be a shock for him. And now that I remember it, I think that's right. The reason they wanted to bring him in and to show him all this is so they can get Angela off their back, off the investigation. Because they kind of bribe him about that, how you kind of get her off this case, do what you need to do. Otherwise, we'd pretty much have to kill her. So that was another aspect of the character that I like as well at the very end. It may look like he's betraying Angela, but in the end, at least how I took it, he's actually helping her out, kind of throwing her under the bus and getting her arrested. And he's ended up going to saving her life in the end because it gets her off the case. They don't have to. 7th Cavalry's not going to go after her and try to kill her. So she may end up hating him. I don't know if by the time this season's over, she'll forgive him or she finds out the truth or not. But he knows he did the right thing in helping her. So, but my biggest fear and question about this episode is the very end. Is Looking Glass still alive?
Right.
Because
I forgot about that.
I think it was the last shot of the episode, we see members of the 7th Cavalry storming into his house with guns. We don't hear gunshots and we don't see what happened afterwards. So they left it open to where it gives me hope that Looking Glass can fight them off and hopefully take them out. He is a costume vigilante police officer after all, so he could probably hold his own. And I would like to think if they were going to kill him off, they just would have showed it there and be done with it. So hopefully we'll find out what happens and he's still alive because I want to see more of this character. But it definitely left me hanging like, oh, I can't end it that way.
Yeah, but not only that, they also reveal that Senator Keene took control of the 7th Cavalry while Judd Crawford took control of the police force to sort of have a standstill of the war, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's not a big fight, I guess.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because if you're involved with the 7th Cavalry, you're obviously, not a great person to just be involved with them. Right. But yet at the same time, they don't want to have this all-out war and kind of want to have peace, but yet their ideas are still wrong, mixing it up with the people like the 7th Cavalry. So it's definitely more than just they're bad guys. They're mixed in with this radical white supremacist group here. There's a little more layer to that, but still, I mean, you don't want to see characters involved at all with this group. If you see them involved, you're going to view them as straight up bad guys and villains, which I do for the most part with Keene now. But there's just a little more aspect to it where they, in their minds, think they're doing it for the right reasons, but yet in the end, still. That group shouldn't even exist for them to be involved with. So this is a lot more complex than you would originally think.
Yeah, and not to mention Jed Crawford still has his. It's not his; it's his dad's. Clan hood.
And
so
and going a little bit into the next episode where we get that scene between him and Will.
Yeah.
Where he says, it's not my grandfather's, whatever, it's my legacy. Like why would you be proud of that legacy if you weren't a white supremacist in your own right? Yeah.
It's not a good legacy to be holding on to.
I know. To be ashamed of it and not even hold on to it. Yeah.
I did want to say, I was wondering where and I haven't reread Watchmen, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was wondering where the 7th Cavalry came from. I was wondering if it was a thing from the comics, or something that the showrunners / writers made up. But apparently it's in the supplemental material. You know how each issue of Watchmen had like a thing at the end. It was Hollis Mason, right?
Yeah.
Hollis Mason's autobiography.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There was a Night Owl article on owls, but Adrian Veidt actually brings it up. He says something to the effect of, what happens, when the four horsemen of death show up, or something, or something like that. And then he mentions the 7th Cavalry. So,
okay,
is Adrian Veidt behind the 7th Cavalry? Does he have anything to do with the 7th Cavalry? Because he's the only person that brings it up.
That's interesting. I didn't realize that or remember that from it. So I wonder if that is something they're going to tie in.
Because it does seem like, I don't know if it seems like it to you, but it seems like all the Adrian Veidt scenes happened before the Oklahoma scenes.
Yeah, I forget about that too. But if you listen to the official Watchmen podcast, which is great after it, every 3 episodes, they talked with David Lindelof about these 3 particular episodes, and when I heard him, I had to be reminded about that, how the stuff with Adrian Veidt's taking place in a totally different time than what we're seeing in the main thrusts of the episode. So we don't know if it's the future, if it's past, or when exactly, but time is passing differently from where he's at. So I keep forgetting about that, because when you're watching it, you think, it's happening at the same time where we're seeing the other stuff. Yeah, but it definitely is not. So it's going to be interesting to see where it fits in, if he does get off that moon that he's on. If
Europa.
He's going to...
Yeah, he's on Europa. The moon is Saturn.
I thought it was Jupiter.
Was it Jupiter?
Pretty sure it was Jupiter. I remember seeing that planet once we got that shot of him.
I could have swore it was Saturn. But
it's definitely one of those.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's interesting now, because if somehow he is part of the 7th Cavalry in some way, and that maybe would explain how they got that video.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just can't wait for all this stuff to be answered.
Not to mention, I really like the scene where Adrian Veidt launches himself into the into the sky, and he lands on the moon, and you see a bunch of dead Mrs. Crookshanks and Mr. Phillipses all over the place, and he rearranges their bodies to say, like, "Save me," or
said "Save me, D," I believe.
Yeah, D, right? Yeah.
And that brings the questions. I mean, "Save me, D" for Dr. Manhattan, or for something else?
It's for a new character called D, Tim.
It's for your character, Dane, Doorman.
Oh yeah, Doorman. How could I forget? But speaking of characters that don't make any sense and are kind of weird, I kind of want you know how we had the Looking Glass episode where we get to dive into his background. He was a Jehovah's Witness. He was there on the attack. Now he's all screwed up because of the psychic attack and stuff like that. I kind of want that for Red Scare. You know, I wonder what was going on. What was he up to in the Soviet Union? You know, before he came to America.
And where did he
Uh,
get his great costume?
yeah. Where did he get his red balaclava? Um, and also Pirate Jenny. I want to. What's her story? You know?
I would like to think it's connected to the Black Freighter comic and story in some way,
Yeah, because
which is why he wants to be a pirate.
isn't that the thing? Superhero comics didn't catch on, so everybody's
Yeah,
into pirates. Yeah.
pirate comics took over. Yeah. So yeah, that was a great episode, and it
Yeah.
ends with Angela taking the nostalgia pills that her grandfather gave her just to kind of get out of being arrested and talking. And it takes us to a very trippy episode for the
Oh
next
yeah.
one. But man, was it
Extremely
good!
well done. Yeah.
Yeah, geez, wow.
But
But
you have to answer my question, Tim.
yes, and I will say the comic book, the aspect of it played a big part of me enjoying it but
Yeah.
I just think in the end we just got a great origin story for Hooded Justice and finally getting his true origin story, at least for this series, because I guess I'm sure there's some people out there who aren't thinking this is in canon with the main comic, but for those who are really enjoying the show and are taking it as part of the next story that follows the comic, like I am, this is the Hooded Justice origin story, and I didn't think it could have been done any better. It was full of surprises. Um, it's really made you feel
Yeah.
for the character, answered a lot of questions, and like you said, just from a TV making standpoint and directing aspect, so well done and so well made. Just everything about this episode clicks so well.
Yeah, and I was kind of spoiled on the fact that Will was Hooded Justice because I looked at the IMDb
Oh,
and
it did say.
the actor that plays young Will, or I don't know, 20 something Will or whatever, he's listed as Hooded Justice.
Okay.
Yeah,
And that was
and
a
I,
theory a lot of people had right when they first saw Will as the old man in the wheelchair. So
right,
it wasn't exactly a huge surprise, but even if it wasn't, it was just, like I said, so told so well and just so well executed
yeah,
that it just made for a great episode of superhero television.
yeah. Because if you haven't read the comics, Hooded Justice plays essentially no role in
Yeah.
in Watchmen besides that one scene with the original Silk Spectre and the comedian,
Hmm.
and the Hollis Mason autobiography where it says like, oh, he killed himself or he got into trouble and they found his body in the Hudson River. So yeah, he pretty much plays no role. But then I think it was Damon Lindelof who said you have to wonder why Alan Moore and Dave Gibbons wouldn't reveal his identity. You know, why didn't he take off his mask around
Hmm.
the other superheroes and stuff? You know, you have to wonder why he didn't do that. And I have to say that the show does make a really, really plausible explanation of why he
Yeah,
did it. Because
totally.
he's an African American, and if people at that time saw an African American rescuing them, they might get scared, you know, or whatever. So
And it
yeah,
would just, they would probably view superhero costume vigilantes even more as criminals and threats without
yeah,
even giving them a chance. And
yeah, right. They would
it would all
demonize
fall
it,
apart, the whole vigilantes.
right? Yeah,
So,
so it does make a lot of sense, and if you don't agree with that, then it's I don't know. It just makes so much sense to me.
yeah, especially, I mean, just seeing what hard time he had as a police officer
Right.
trying to do right. And then if they found out, it was an African American being the first vigilante, like I said, it would just paint a wrong stigma against him that we wouldn't see any other vigilantes after that. And it
Right.
just made sense why he would have to do that. Because that was another thing. They kept portraying Hooded Justice as just, a white man under that hood. And even when that was in the TV show, I forget the name of it. Is it Behind the Cape or Beyond?
American. American Hero Story.
There it is. Okay, yeah. I don't know where I got Behind the Cape from, but
The Cape.
that's probably some documentary somewhere. But even how they're portraying Hooded Justice there, this episode starts where he takes off his mask, and it's just this white guy under there, and and they even there's over the course of certain episodes how I believe it was Laurie's that other agent that's with Laurie Blake is saying how that show is filled with inaccuracies, so you can't put too much stock in what they're showing you on there.
And we do see the inaccuracy because we see Hooded Justice go into the clan meeting, and then he busts out of the back entrance of the
grocery store.
The grocery store.
Yeah.
And we see that portrayed in that, is it the second episode?
It was the second episode.
Second episode, we see that play out, and it's way, way different.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, this makes total sense how that could be exaggerated in a totally different way. You got certain aspects of it right, but it was told totally differently.
And it was great to see. It was great to see, Tim. And I know you've watched the first season of True Detective. It was great to see the Yellow King.
Oh, who did he play?
Fred.
Oh, he did.
Yeah, that was the Yellow King.
Man, I totally forgot about that.
Yeah, and speaking of that character, Fred, did you see the articles connecting him to a certain somebody?
Within the show, you mean, or just in after?
In our world.
Okay, no, I haven't.
A famous guy with the last name. His last name starts with a T.
No, I totally didn't pick up on it or read anything about
that.
You
have to look it up. It's FT and Sons is the name of the butcher or whatever, the butchering company or whatever that Fred owns, and it's
okay. There you go.
Yeah.
I just did a search for it now, and I know what you're talking about.
There's a really big connection.
Okay, now I can see how it is the Yellow King, but now his face looks familiar.
Yeah.
I totally didn't pick up on that, though.
Yeah, it was the Yellow King from True Detective Season 1.
The actor just playing another horrible person.
You got that right.
He does a good job at it. Nothing against, say, the actors like that. Just does a great job as an actor portraying people you hate.
That's actually the second time I've seen him play a racist, by the way. The first time he played a racist cop in Twilight Zone, the Jordan Peele Twilight Zone, which is a really good episode.
Hope he doesn't get typecast as that.
But yeah, I really like the how it was shot. Not only because it interchanged between Angela or Regina King and that 20-something Will Reeves guy, but also because of the one shot Daredevil-esque fight scenes. I really like that.
Yeah.
When he breaks into the warehouse meatpacking area and he's fighting all the Klan's members. I really like that.
Yeah, it was shot beautifully. So the action in this episode was one of the series' best too. Is him putting on the hood for the first time and taking out those muggers, and like you said, the action sequence with him fighting the Klan that leads into the grocery store. So just a lot of cool action beats for this character. And again, the reason I just love it so much is just the origin story it created for him.
Right.
Just how
it's a tragic story.
Yeah,
it's a real tragic story. I mean, he does this to get his rage out and to help people, but then it ends up turning against him. Especially with the Minutemen. I mean, he kind of sort of has a relationship with Captain Metropolis, and it's revealed that Will is gay or bi or what have you. And then he's trying to take down Cyclops, which is pretty much the Klan in New York City, and nobody wants to help him because it's not good for
their image or
the advertising or sponsorships or whatever.
Yeah, then that image there's that scene where you see that them taking that classic photo. And Hooded Justice trying to expose Cyclops, but then Metropolis stops and they show that racist, horrible billboard promo. And it's just like, man, like you really feel for this guy and everything that he's gone through, and he's trying to do good, even amongst people he thinks are on the same side as him, or still, obviously the fight has to be fought within too, against the racial prejudice and all that stuff going on within. But just going back to the very first scene of this series of the Tulsa Massacre and seeing Will, now knowing that Will was that little boy and that boy becomes Hooded Justice, and this adds to his origin story and how I think it's a very compelling one, and you can understand all the rage that he has and the need to get it out as Hooded Justice, and going into the prejudice within the police force, trying to do good there amongst the police officers there, and then all that does for him is get him lynched and almost killed. And the fact that plays into him becoming Hooded Justice, I thought was brilliant too. The costume, now we know why he wears the hood and he has the noose around him as part of his costume.
It makes so much sense. It makes so much sense. I mean, he has the black hood because that's what they put over him. He has the noose because they're going to lynch him. And he has the rope around his arms or his wrists because they bound his wrists together.
Yep.
And that's what makes him the superhero that he is, or the vigilante, because we don't say superhero, right, in the Watchmen universe. So, and I don't think we ever see him in his comic costume, right? He only has that.
We do.
Well, we do?
Yeah. Oh, the shot where they're taking that picture, he wears his full costume.
Right, the photo shoot, right?
Yeah. And I think he wears it when he fought the Klan members in their base. I think that was his first night out, and he attacked. I'm pretty sure he had his full costume on there.
Really?
Yeah.
I got to rewatch it, too.
Yeah. I know. I just want to rewatch it again after talking about it.
Yeah.
But I got to say, another thing that I really like, and this just goes into being a comic book nerd, I do like how Superman and Action Comics 1 played a little role in him wanting to become a vigilante. Because there is something really cool about once that person he was talking to reading Action Comics #1, and boy, if they only knew how valuable that comic would become while reading it. But just how he was telling him the origin of Superman, and Will is just really taking to it because it is similar to his own life with what happened with his parents sending him away to get away from pretty much their world being destroyed, and they did it to protect their son, and this is how he's really can relate to Superman, and I think that played a part in him wanting to become a vigilante as well too. So throwing in that little wrinkle of Action Comics and the story of Superman inspiring him as well, I thought was really cool.
Yeah, and that's the I guess Will being a police officer and reading Action Comics, it's the Hollis Mason story, right? They're kind of copying the Hollis Mason story, and so did Hollis Mason know Will Reeves, or did he take Hooded Justice is origin story? Why would they just copy it?
Yeah, that's the thing. He has to know certain aspects of them. They worked together for a little bit, even though it's implied that Hooded Justice kept to himself a lot and didn't interact probably too much with the other members of the Minutemen. But there'd be some stuff I think Hollis Mason would know about him that he would put in that book.
Yeah, but why would he apply it to his own story? Yeah,
so that's a good point too. Yeah. Maybe just one of those things where he took a little liberty there and wanted to put that for himself. Because, again, knowing when you tell these stories or put these into a TV show or a tell-all book or whatnot, there might be some exaggerations and stuff that's not always going to be 100% true. So maybe he took that and wanted to make it a part of himself because he maybe wished that was more for him.
Yeah, right.
That's why he became a hero.
Yeah. And also, we get the how Will got Judd to essentially hang himself.
Yeah.
with the mesmerism, because the Klan was using this mesmerism technique to have African Americans attack each other and create chaos. And Will, after he takes down the Klan hideout or whatever you call it, he takes a camera, and I guess he learns the mesmerism technique, and he uses it on Judd. How did he put down the spike strip, though?
I think it's only doable when you're in a wheelchair.
Yeah, I guess you just got to throw it out, right?
Yeah, just move it along while you're in your wheelchair.
But yeah, I thought that was a great way to
kind of tie it all back.
Yeah, tie it all baback and show how
there is something satisfying about him using the Klan's own weapon against them later, all these years later.
yeah. And it also poses a question, like, with the Judd character, like, is there such a thing as a good racist?
Mm-hmm.
And the answer is no.
No, I was gonna say they might raise that question, but it's still no.
Yeah, it's still a big no. I mean, I know it's your legacy, but I know your dad was a Klan member, but it's
and even if you're trying to quote unquote keep peace, it's still right. You shouldn't even be involved with them still in the first place.
Right, you shouldn't do it that way. I mean,
yeah, he even tries to tell Will, I'm doing this to help you people.
Right.
Is what he tells to try to justify it, but it's still like
it's the wording, you people. Yeah, it's the wording you got to watch out for. But yeah, I just like how they tied it, they connected to the end, and not only that, but apparently only Lady True can cure you from overdosing on nostalgia.
Yeah, apparently.
Also, I wanted to, I guess, ask you. There's that scene after Will takes out the Klan meeting, all the Klan members, and he goes home, and his son is dressing. I guess Angela's dad is dressing up as him, putting on the white face makeup and putting on the cape and stuff. And Will has a reaction where it's like, don't do that, don't dress up like this. Why do you think that was?
Yeah, I think he knows kind of what he's becoming, even though he is taking down these bad people, he does probably recognize his anger and rage that he has with it. He doesn't want to see his son like that too, and doesn't want to see him follow in his footsteps. But I also think too, he also feels, he doesn't want to see his son put on that white makeup as well, because he shouldn't have to.
Okay.
He kind of has to do it as a necessity for all the reasons we talked about and what his wife told him to do it for as well. But he knows that shouldn't be the case. And hopefully there's a point where if his son wanted to be a vigilante or any other African Americans, they wouldn't and shouldn't have to do that. So that's kind of the reaction I got from it, kind of twofold, where he doesn't want him to be as angry as he is, but at the same time too, not seeing his son put on that white makeup. He doesn't want to see that because it shouldn't be that way, even for him.
Right. I see. Yeah, that makes sense. But going back to Lady True, what do you think the watchtower, the Millennium Clock is for?
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't really put too much speculation into that. I'm kind of just waiting to see for myself, but it's almost seems like it's going to be, they want to up Adrian Veidt on what he did back with the squid attack. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see if it is something more extravagant than that, or they have a totally different reason and cause for it. So I don't know. I'm just anxious to find out. I'm not speculating too much on it, to be honest with you, but
right. I hope it's not that. I hope it's not. They're trying to one up Adrian Veidt. I just hope that it's something completely different. And I don't know. I just hope it's not that. And
we should find out soon, though. I mean, it's hard to believe we only got 3 more episodes left.
I know, right?
Series. So, and I get scared a little bit too that Damon Lindelof keeps saying how it was kind of intended just to be a one and done season, but
well, Tim, I will say as a watcher of The Leftovers, Um, the Leftover season 1 takes place in upstate New York, right? And
Uh,
it has everything to do with that their little town. But the second season, they sort of erase all storylines of what was happening, and they move it down to Texas. And then in season 3, the same thing. They sort of erase everything um, that season 2 did, and they do introduce the next season through a storyline that makes zero sense in the previous season. So in season 3, they move it down to Australia. So I think that's what he meant.
so it could just be this is the only season with these characters and these events, and season 2 could be something totally different.
Same characters, different
Oh,
story. Yeah,
oh, okay. Well, that's
yeah,
kind of weird. I don't know if I want to see that with this. But,
yeah. It's so
so it's
so
pretty much each season's a retcon.
it's not so much a retcon as it's this happened, and now we're gonna move on to the next part of our story. You know, and we're gonna make sort of slight references to what happened before, but it's gonna be mostly about what's happening here in Texas and what's happening here in Australia.
But it's with the same characters, though. Which,
Same characters, yeah, yeah, same characters.
oh, that's interesting. I don't know if that'd be something I'd still be a fan of, but again, maybe I haven't seen The Leftovers, so maybe it
Yeah,
works in the course of that show.
yeah, it does work. It works, Tim. Don't worry.
Okay.
You're gonna be fine. It's
Well,
okay.
all I'm worried about is that Watchmen's only going to be one season. So knowing how good it is, I want to see more. So I'm
Yeah,
hoping for season 2 and 3 and beyond. But if
yeah,
this is it, man, it's been great so far. Just really can't wait to see how it's going to end and how it all connects and wraps up. Because Damon Lindelof is saying that everything will be connected and answered for the most part. There might be a few lingering questions, but the main plot threads and big questions everyone has will be answered by the time the season is over. So
and I can say after watching The Leftovers, he makes good on his promises like that.
that's good.
Because he did the same thing with The Leftovers. Um, and yeah, don't worry about it. Don't worry about these weird story threads that seem to be going nowhere. It will be answered. If not this season, next season.
Good to know. I'm
Yeah.
going to be there to enjoy the ride.
One thing my one point of criticism for the show, Tim, it's not a very big piece of criticism, but as someone that lives in the area or the big general area, bringing Vietnam in all of its humidity to Oklahoma is a huge slap in my face. As someone that experiences tropical humidity, I am offended. Sometimes during the summer, I wish for one day, Tim, one day with just dry heat. Just regular old dry heat like you would get in California or Arizona or
Mhm.
Las Vegas, or Texas, you know, just one day of just dry heat. Not humid heat where you get out of the shower and it feels like you're still in the shower. Just one day, Tim. But yeah, if you're gonna move to Oklahoma, don't bring the humidity with you.
So you wouldn't last an hour or at all in Lady Drew's big tower or
No,
her office.
her vivarium. No, no, I would not, Tim.
Even if they offered you so much money to work there to be her assistant.
You know what? I'm gonna pass. I'm gonna pass because Vietnam can stay in Vietnam. Tropical humidity can stay in Hawaii.
Oh, that's good to know now, Dane. I know
Yeah.
where you draw the line. So yeah, Watchmen has been great, and
Yeah.
just
This has been this last episode. This extraordinary being is probably my favorite episode, or episode of TV I've seen in a long, long time.
Yeah, there's just so much great stuff about it. So
Yeah.
if you haven't jumped on board on Watchmen yet, definitely start checking it out now. Or it'll be there for you to binge once it's over, but at least definitely check it out at some point. But one more TV show to go over that's been awesome as well. The Mandalorian continues to just knock it out of the park, in my opinion. And we got 2 more episodes. One of them was absolutely fantastic, and the other was a little smaller scale, but still some great story moments and character progression for our hero or anti-hero, how you want to look at him. But man, I'm still loving the series and what it's doing for Star Wars and live action television. It's just incredible. I mean, the 3rd episode with the Mandalorian bringing Baby Yoda back to his client to get paid for it. You knew what was probably going to happen in that episode, where he'd feel regret about turning it in. But I thought what happened in this episode would happen later on in the season. The fact that we saw him going in to retrieve Baby Yoda back and just having a great action sequence amongst these stormtroopers and getting the baby back was phenomenal. And then that causes he goes against the bounty hunters code, or the bounty hunters guild code, and it sends a bunch of other bounty hunters after him to stop him from leaving with the baby and to bring it back to their client. And that made a whole totally other great, awesome action sequence that happened afterwards, with Mandalorians flying in and helping him escape with this fantastic shootout. Man, there's so much great stuff about that one episode, I think, both from a story standpoint and from an action standpoint. It was just crazy how awesome it was.
And I like the distinction that the show's making, where Mandalorian doesn't automatically mean you're a bounty hunter.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's Mandalorian is its own separate thing, and some Mandalorians decide to become bounty hunters. And yeah, I just like that distinction. But man, that episode, when he does the quick draw on all the bounty hunters, and he jumps into that car, that was cool. And to see finally see all these Mandalorians in their jetpacks fighting, I just thought it was really cool.
Yeah.
And that big guy with the Gatling gun.
Yeah. It was just amazing to see in live action. We've seen stuff like that in Clone Wars before, but seeing all those Mandalorians come together in a big shootout in live action was just a sight to behold. And I got to be honest, I kind of felt that's where the episode was going to go once we saw the Mandalorian had no way out. Kind of figured that's who was going to help him and get out of that jam, but it didn't make it any less awesome to see. But as cool as that was, my favorite part of the episode was seeing him retrieve Baby Yoda again and making his escape from that location, taking out the stormtroopers.
He does a Batman move. He does the Batman move where, with that doctor guy, where he's like, intimidating him, and then, the doctor is like saying something, and then he looks back, and the Mandalorian and Baby Yoda are gone.
Yeah, without a sound. I just love the idea of this character with this cool-looking armor, and he has this cute little baby with him, and he's taking out all these stormtroopers to protect this baby. There's just something visually cool about it, and just, again, adding to this character that you're really rooting for here, because you're just seeing that even if he's in the first episode being introduced as this bounty hunter, this cold bounty hunter who's only out for himself and to get the job done, you see he does have a heart and he does care about this relationship he's forming with this child already. And it's just, it built it so well in episode 2. And now you're seeing the fruition of that in episode 3 and how much he cares and doesn't want to see any harm come to it. And he feels it's his responsibility to protect it from whatever the Empire has in store for it. So it was just great seeing him protect this child, and mixed in with some great action sequences of him using all of the gadgets and technology in his Mandalorian suit to take out these stormtroopers. Then he used the flamethrower, he uses grappling hook. He used that cool move with all those missiles firing at the stormtroopers out of his gauntlet, which he just got built from the money he got from the bounty. So much great stuff about this episode from a story standpoint, character standpoint, action standpoint. It was just amazing. And it was directed by Deborah Chow, who's going to be directing the Obi-Wan TV series, and if this episode is any indication,
Oh yeah,
Obi-Wan is going to be amazing.
yeah. She was. I don't know if you noticed him, but she was using the handheld camera. It looked like like war footage.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, just I like that effect, and not to mention Tim. I think you you kind of sidestepped it, but we finally get to see the Mandalorian in his Mandalorian armor, right?
Mm-hmm.
His full kit, not just like a shoulder pad and his formerly busted armor. Now he has a mirror. He's a walking mirror.
Yeah, it looks really cool though. I love how shiny it is. It's almost like a Mandalorian version of Captain Phasma.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was just great. And the episode that just aired this week, episode 4, where he tries to go into hiding with Baby Yoda on this remote planet. This episode, like I said, is a little smaller in scale, and it takes a little step back to kind of calms things down for a little bit. But it is a familiar story we've seen in Star Wars before about these new people coming into a location and helping these farmers and villagers who can't fight against these marauders attacking their village, and they need help. So they're going to pay the Wanderer. It's the Seven Samurai, Magnificent Seven, that type of story. And like I said, Star Wars done it before. There was an episode of Clone Wars called Bounty Hunters, where Anakin, Ahsoka, and Obi-Wan help these villagers on Felucia, protect them from these bounty hunters, or they work with these bounty hunters to protect them from Hondo and the pirates. So it's pretty similar to that. It's a story trope we've seen before, but again, seen in live action in Star Wars with the Mandalorian, and introducing Cara Dune, who's already a cool character, and I just love the team up between her and the Mandalorian. Looks like they have a good rapport already with how they do battle and just how they interact with each other. So
how come they're introducing all these characters, but is it like a one and done sort of thing?
No, she's going to be back.
You see, I always keep on, every time he meets somebody, like the Ugnaught in the first episode, or Cara, what's her name? Cara?
Yeah, Cara Dune.
Cara Dune, right? I think they're going to join him on the Razor Crest.
Like that it's going to be part of his crew.
Yeah, they're going to be part of the crew. Maybe at the end of the first season. No, I don't know.
Yeah, because we've seen shots and stuff from trailers where she comes back and she has this big, mini gun that she's going to use to take out some stormtroopers. So they'll definitely be teaming up again.
Not to mention, where's IG-11?
I wonder if he's still stuck on the desert planet.
Yeah, is he still dead?
But he has to come back too. I think somehow, some way, he's going to be repaired.
Yeah,
he's just too good of a character to not to be back.
Not to mention, he's in the promo material, right?
Yeah.
Same thing with Cara.
Because with IG-11, I think, pretty sure for the stuff we saw of him in the trailers was all in that first episode. So he's someone who maybe, if there's anyone who might not be back for another episode, it might be him. But I still think he's going to be back because he's too good of a character to only use for one episode.
Yeah.
So yeah, the series continues to be great. I love, again, even though it was smaller in scale than episode 3, I just love how different and unique episode 4 was. Just having to be more character driven, because we do get more about the Mandalorian and his past and why he doesn't take off the helmet, and just diving into why he does what he does. So just more kind of character building and diving into more of the Mandalorian history and lore in both episodes. So I just love getting all that stuff. It just makes me enjoy it so much more. So yeah,
he almost takes off his helmet.
Well, he does take it off, but we just don't see it. It's more like a Master Chief moment.
Yeah, not in front of anybody, but that lady almost takes off his helmet.
Yeah. He wasn't gonna allow that though. Yeah, that's true. But I guess my favorite part of what makes this series, The Mandalorian, really good is and it has been said before on different websites, and from different people, but I like how it's like a video game, right? It's like an RPG, right? It's like you
you start getting the armor and stuff, and you're on the main quest. But there's also these side quests, like this episode where
That's true. Yeah.
they go to this planet and they're doing a job for these villagers, and yeah, I just like how it almost seems like a video game, like an RPG.
Yeah, I can see that. It does have that feel where each episode is almost like you're going to a different level or progression of a game, and you get new items at the end of it once
Yeah.
it's done.
But it also has that real. I mean, it really, really seems like a Western.
Oh,
Um,
easily, yeah.
I mean, you got like the theme song of it with that whistle thing,
uh,
whatever that is. Yeah,
they're definitely not hiding the fact of what their inspiration is.
yeah. Like the first time you see the Mandalorian, he's walking into a saloon, right?
Mm.
Quote unquote saloon, right? So, yeah, I love this show, Tim. It just keeps getting better and better. This past episode 4 was directed by Bryce Dallas Howard.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I just love it.
I'm right there with you. I mean, it's just great time to be a Star Wars fan between this, between The Mandalorian, Fallen Order, Rise of Skywalker in a few weeks. It just
Yeah,
doesn't get any better than this, man. It really doesn't.
not to mention we also got Watchmen
Yeah, like I said,
tomorrow.
so many cool stuff to choose from on the TV front. So,
Yeah, and you know what I've been meaning to say. I know you liked the Watchmen movie, Tim.
mm,
Um, what I really, really, really love about the Watchmen TV show is the fact that it seems like the writers and Damon Lindelof, it seems like they really understand what Alan Moore was trying to do, what Dave Gibbons was trying to do, and they understand the material rather than just showing a shot for shot thing where it's like, look at this, you remember this from the comic? Do you remember this from the comic? Here's Hallelujah by Leonard Cohen in a really uncomfortable scene. Um, and look how cool this looks. And it doesn't seem like the movie really understood the comic, whereas the television show, it really understands the source material. And like, you see it with the Seventh Cavalry, even with Laurie Blake, how she's sort of takes on the persona of the comedian, you know? And
yeah, that's a good
you,
point. I never really thought of that, but
yeah, and you,
sure.
you, you can kind of tell that it's not her, and she's kind of like the Harley Quinn series, where it's just trying way too hard and it's getting a little sad, you know? So it's the understanding of the source material, and that's what makes it so great.
Well, I will agree that obviously David Lindelof and the other people involved with the show understand the source material
Yeah,
fantastically and get it. But I will say, too, I'm not going to say that Zack Snyder and those behind the movie didn't either. So I know we're
yeah,
disagree
yeah,
on the movie, but
or at least a better understanding.
maybe. But again, they're trying to tell a different story here. So
Yeah, I guess so. One thing that the Watchmen show does really well is when specifically Laurie Blake is talking with, like, let's say Looking Glass, right, in that pod.
mhm.
How stupid Looking Glass looks.
Yeah.
Now the mask doesn't look as cool. It's the same thing with Angela. Now she doesn't look so cool. The Sister Night outfit doesn't look very cool because she's kind of making fun of it, right? And
uh,
it is kind of ridiculous. It does look ridiculous. That's what the show does superbly. Like, just so perfect.
I still think they look cool though, especially Looking Glass. No matter what Laurie Blake says, even though she's probably right,
Yeah.
it still looks cool.
But anyway, yeah, great TV. The Mandalorian. Everything I wanted in a Star Wars TV show, Tim.
Yeah, it's exceeded my expectations. That's how great it is, and you know how excited I was for it beforehand. So, that just goes to tell you how great they're doing with it.
You know what the Mandalorian kind of reminds me of? Something I've always wanted to see, right? The Mandalorian is kind of something I've always wanted to see. Like, what about the bounty hunters? What do they do? You know, where do they go? What's happening with them? This kind of reminds me of the Sidious and Darth Maul fight on that planet in the Clone Wars.
Mm. Which was Mandalore.
Oh, Mandalore, right?
Yeah.
They fought in Mandalore.
Yeah.
It sort of reminds me of that. Like, this is how the Sith take care of business. This is what happens. They fight it out. You know, it's just something I've always wanted to see. You know.
Yeah. There's you said it best. Perfect is what they're doing with establishing the bounty hunter and even Mandalorian lore and histories. It's just so good. I could not be happier with it, and that's saying something.
Now, is there anybody that doesn't like it?
I'm sure there is, but I don't even want to find out who it is or what their complaints are, because you could have some nitpicks about it, but to actually not like it, I don't see how that's possible as a Star Wars fan, to be honest.
Yeah, that's true.
So yeah, great stuff in the land of TV, and I think more great stuff to come in all these series except Harley Quinn. So that's the only one I'm not excited about seeing more. So they all can't be winners, but for the most part, there's a lot of great stuff to watch out there.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's it for our featured topic, but not too many news stories to go about these last few weeks, but one of them I had to mention. But first off, a little bit of more casting news for the Batman. Matt Reeves announced on Twitter that John Turturro is going to be playing Carmine Falcone in his movie. So can you count him as another villain added to this film, or does he not count as one of the main Batman's rogues galleries entry into this film? But regardless, Carmine Falcone is going to be in this movie, and John Turturro is going to play him. So just more cool casting news. I have seen John Turturro stuff, so we're getting more actors who I've actually seen. Did you know?
I'm curious. What have you seen him in?
Well, he was in the Transformers movies, but that's not his best role. But
yeah,
see, what I remember him most as, he actually played Billy Martin in an ESPN movie about the Yankees in the 70s, like when they first signed Reggie Jackson.
Really?
Yeah, I think it was called Bronx Zoo, and he played Billy Martin. And I actually thought he did a good job.
Does he look like Billy Martin? No, right?
Not. He pulled it off pretty well though. There, when you just look at a picture of him now, you wouldn't think so. But when he's in like a Yankee cap, Yankee gear, I think he pulled it off pretty well, even though not looking exactly like him.
Who did he play in? Who played Reggie?
I don't remember. It wasn't
like a no-name actor?
well-named actors, I don't believe.
Oh, okay.
This was back in 2007 too, so it was a while ago. Maybe they're known actors now, but back then I don't think so.
What's that movie called?
Bronx Zoo. I'm actually looking it up right now to see if it brings up anything about it.
Not the Bronx Zoo.
Yeah, I know. I typed that in, and that came up. Yeah, I guess you got to be more specific. ESPN Bronx Zoo 2007. I don't know. It keeps bringing up Bronx Zoo stuff. We have to look up later. So, but he was the actor, the only one I remembered or known in that movie. So now he's gonna be Billy Martin and a crime boss as Carmine Falcone.
That's so weird. He played Billy Martin.
Yeah.
That's great. I've seen him in another HBO show, The Night Of.
Okay.
Starring I forget his name. Bodie.
Adrian Brody?
No.
Did you say Brody or Bodie?
I gotta look it up real quick. From Rogue One.
Bodie Rook. You mean?
Riz Ahmed. Riz Ahmed.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about an actor named Brody.
No.
That's why I thought of Adrian Brody.
Yeah, I've seen him in that. So, yeah, he's a good actor.
And I think he can pull off a crime boss pretty well. So
I don't know if you can pull Billy Martin
Yeah.
and not look anything like him. I suppose.
His acting potential is unlimited, then, if he can pull that off.
I guess he kind of looks like Billy Martin.
You got to see him like in the full Yankee gear and everything.
Does he play an old Billy Martin?
Well, just however old he was in 1978 or 77 when they first got Reggie Jackson, because that's when the series takes place.
Mm. Yeah, he was in his 50s.
Billy Martin or John Turturro?
Billy Martin. Billy Martin.
But yeah, again, you just have to see it. I thought he pulled it off well.
Yeah, I guess.
But the other bit of news I just wanted to talk about, not really news, but an image that got released of Crisis on Infinite Earths. We got our first look at Kevin Conroy as Bruce Wayne in live action, and he looks awesome. We said before how since Brendan Routh is playing the Kingdom Come Superman, that maybe they're going to do the same with Kevin Conroy's Bruce Wayne. They did say he would be older. And it looks like they're going that route because in the image they have, he's in a suit, but also he has these metallic armored shoulder pads that are not exactly what he wore in Kingdom Come, but to me it has that feel and vibe to it, and I think that's what they're going for, and it just looks really cool seeing Kevin Conroy actually playing Bruce Wayne, and it's going to be even more cooler when we hear him talk with that iconic voice and we see him as Bruce Wayne in live action. It's going to be great. He did say he's only going to be in one episode. It's just the Batwoman portion of it. So hopefully he makes his presence known in there and he's not underutilized and he has a big role in that one episode if that's all we're going to get him in. But just seeing that image just makes me so excited to see Kevin Conroy as Bruce Wayne in live action. It's going to be so cool. I just like the look they have going for him so far. So I can't wait. It's just, I believe, 2 more weeks till it airs. So it's going to be here before we know it, and I can't wait.
Avatar was a Disney movie?
What a smooth transition there. Kevin Conroy to Avatar.
No. I just closed the window and my Disney Plus came up, and I just see Avatar.
Well, it's because it was Fox, and Disney has Fox now, so they technically have Avatar.
Also, why they have Home Alone.
Yeah. I don't think they've had that before, so that is another thing from Fox.
Yeah. Well, I guess James Cameron can now take another 20 years to make one sequel to Avatar.
I still haven't even seen the first movie, so he can take as much time as he wants. I don't know if I'll ever see it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I guess that's it for our news and discussion topics. Not too much. I know there's been reports about Todd Phillips saying how they're going to do a Joker sequel.
Oh, Tim, I didn't see this before. I'm so sorry. I
take it this has nothing to do with what I was talking about with Joker.
Yeah. I'm so sorry, Tim. I don't mean to interrupt you, but Disney Plus has the original X-Men animated series.
You did not know that?
No.
That was like one of the big things that everyone was excited about, that it was going to be on there.
And they have like the 15 Spider-Man shows.
They got pretty much almost every Marvel animated series on there.
Do they have the Fox movies?
Not yet. I think they're going to get those pretty soon, but not just yet.
Well, I guess I know what I'm doing after.
Yeah. Hey, you got to finish Star Wars Rebels first.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Or I guess you could split them up.
No, I can't do 2. I did finish The Office, so that I can focus on something else.
Yeah.
And it's probably going to be Rebels. So
it's only 4 seasons, so it shouldn't take you too long.
Yeah, it's not like nine seasons, and 8 and 9 aren't very good.
2 without the best character on the show.
Yeah.
So yeah, but as I was saying, all those reports about Todd Phillips and Warner Brothers doing a Joker sequel, Hollywood Reporter said they are, but then Todd Phillips and other reporters are saying, we haven't had any discussions about that. So I don't know what's going on there. So no need to speculate on it too much until we get any official word. So, but other than that, not too much new stuff going on. But with that, go ahead and go into our comic book review for this episode, which is going to be Batman number 83, continuing on the City of Bane storyline. And as always, going to go into spoilers that are in this episode or this issue. I said I forget about mentioning spoiler warnings when we're talking about our feature topic, but I don't seem to forget it when we're talking comic book reviews. I don't know why I can't do it for both, but comic book reviews, probably because we've been saying it so long for 190 episodes. It's just automatic, but not in our feature topic. One of these days I'll automatically say it for both. But so yeah, spoilers obviously I'm going to talk about in this issue, and our rating scale for this episode. What should it be, Dane?
Just really quick before I give my spoiler scale.
Scale.
Yeah, I mean my comic book rating scale. They also have the X-Men Evolution show.
They also got Wolverine and the X-Men on there too, which was
really?
I haven't seen all of it, but I remember seeing the first few episodes it being really good.
Oh yeah, yeah. They also have the old Iron Man show.
Never seen that one. I've heard.
Me neither.
I heard it's pretty good, but it doesn't get talked about a lot. It's not like the X-Men and Spider-Man show.
The old Avengers show, definitely don't watch.
No, but definitely watch Avengers: Earth's Mightiest Heroes. That is one of the best Marvel animated series you're gonna get.
See, do they have it?
Yeah, it's on there.
Yep, they have it.
It's pretty much like the Marvel Justice League animated series and Justice League Unlimited. It's really good.
Oh, I see. My rating scale for this episode is going to be times Dane distracts Tim about things he finds on Disney+.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Appropriate for this comic book review section.
One more interruption, Tim. Is the Runaways on Hulu?
Yeah, it's the same series.
So they're posting it on Hulu and Disney+.
Yeah, it's probably going to leave Hulu soon because I know it's going to go on to its last season. So maybe it's just going to be on Disney+ after that. But I've never seen that show, so I'm not 100% sure how great it is or bad it is. So I don't know one way or the other.
Well, I just wanted to give it a try. That's why. That Spider-Man original animated series is calling my name, Tim.
The 90s one, right?
Yeah.
It's so good. Even though the animation doesn't hold up in a lot of episodes.
It does not.
Still a great adaptation of Spider-Man and his villains.
Yeah. But yeah, that's my rating scale.
Okay. Again, appropriate. So Batman 83, I've made it no secret how City of Bane has been very disappointing, and I haven't been enjoying it. And thankfully I can say this issue is the complete opposite. This issue was fantastic because it's pretty much just a tribute to Alfred and his relationship for Bruce. And as I said in previous issues, I didn't know now if Alfred was really dead because Batman believed he was kind of things were going to his plan, and Alfred getting captured but escaping was part of the plan. So I wasn't sure if that's actually what happened. But no, Alfred is dead. And I was saying how it was kind of disappointing where Bruce we wouldn't see his reaction to Alfred dying and just seeing how that's going to affect him. Well, Tom King rectifies that, and we see his reaction here because he sees it in a pretty brutal way. We just see him unconscious sitting at the main Wayne Manor dinner table. He's coming to, he's in his costume, and then we just, on the last panel on page 1, we just see this look of shock in his face. His mouth's open, his eyes wide. The next page is this full splash page of Batman looking at Alfred's dead body at the other end of the table with how we saw him when Bane snapped his neck. And it's going over this poem that Alfred is reciting over the narration. And pretty much the whole issue is a message Alfred left to Bruce before he died because he knew this was going to happen. And it was just very beautiful, I got to say. This issue perfectly captured the special relationship that Alfred and Bruce have, as that father-son relationship that both of them have had. And again, the art in this issue is fantastic by Michael Yannon, if I'm saying the name right. If not, I apologize. But the way he captured Bruce's emotion and the pain when he sees Alfred's dead body is exactly what I was hoping for and what I would expect Bruce to have. You just see the shock and the pain in his face, the tears running down his eyes through the cowl. It's just very beautifully drawn. It just perfectly captures the emotion that Bruce would have here. Just so well done. And then just the message that Alfred left here, again, was just written very beautifully by Tom Kane, and just perfectly captures the Alfred-Batman relationship, which was a problem I had early on in Tom King's writing when he took over Batman. And he kind of makes a point in that later on, to a moment I had issue with very early in his run. But I just love how it begins with Alfred telling Bruce of the times they played together, where Bruce was a little kid playing cops and robbers, and the fun they've had, and just how everything changed once Thomas and Martha Wayne died, but how Alfred took over being the parent for Bruce, but his main goal was to see Bruce smile again and to see the joy. Because I loved how he said everyone always thought Bruce, even as a kid, was this quiet, solemn, to himself child who would never smile, but Alfred knew the real Bruce, how he was a happy child. He was someone who smiled and laughed a lot. He even says like no other child could. And he wanted to get that back from Bruce. And he saw that him being Batman was a way for Bruce to get that joy and to get that little boy back again. And that's why he took or supported Bruce in his mission to become Batman and to wage war on criminals, and how it gave Bruce purpose. Alfred recognized that this is what he needed, and he was there to support Bruce. And I just love how he made a parallel, how that's Bruce's goal as Batman, to bring justice to those who need it, and to make sure what happened to him never happens to anyone else was his ultimate goal. And Alfred says his ultimate goal in Quest in supporting Bruce, again, is to see him smile again and to get that little boy back. And I just love how he recognized that being Batman was going to help with doing that. And it's all going over Bruce showing his frustration with the death of Alfred, the sadness. He takes him over to this couch. He puts his cape over the body, and you just see the remorse in Bruce's face. And as he tries to leave the room that he's in, he sees that it's closed off. There's just bricks behind it, and he just tries to punch it and to get out, and it's having no effect. And you're just seeing the frustration boil over Bruce till he lets out this big scream of pain and starts wrecking things in Wayne Manor. Again, going over Alfred's message that he's leaving him. It's just great parallel, seeing the frustration, but yet the beautiful wisdom and words of a goodbye that Alfred is leaving Bruce. Just so well done. And like I said, how it kind of redid something I had issue with in one of Tom King's earlier moments. It was when Bruce was on that plane trying to save it before Gotham Girl and her brother helped save it, how he was asking Alfred, would this be a good death, and would his parents be proud? I forget the exact words Alfred said, but it was somehow how they wouldn't be proud, or just a fact that it was something I wouldn't picture Alfred saying, knowing how he supports Bruce in his mission. Felt so out of character. And Alfred says here, when I told you that, I gave you the answer you needed to hear then, but I lied because your parents would be so proud of you. And I love how he says too that there actually are no good deaths, but there are good lives. And the life you're living here, your parents would be so proud, and I am so proud of you. So it made me good that a few years later, that moment I had issue with, Tom King recognized that, how that really wasn't Alfred. And I still don't think it was something he needed to say, or Bruce that Bruce needed to hear in that moment to do what he needed to do. But I'm glad at least Tom King recognized that, and knowing how Alfred really didn't mean it there. So just great stuff all around in this issue. And then it ends with Bruce thinking he has no way out of this room, and as the message is ending, Catwoman comes back and she busts the door open and she says, he's ready for you. And then we see Bruce enter a room with the rest of the Bat family members. They're all well now after being beaten up by Thomas Wayne. But Thomas Wayne is there with the Psycho Pirate and the ventriloquist. And he's telling Bruce, you've heard the message. You've seen Alfred dead. That's enough. Are you done with this Batman obsession? He says, I have everything, your family, your city. Are you done? And Bruce, again, being the typical response that he's going to have as Batman, he goes, it's never done. And he says he'll never stop. And he says, he's going to go against one more round with his father. And he says this time it's for Alfred. So looks like Bruce and Thomas Wayne are going to have one more skirmish here. And to say that it's personal would be an understatement this time. Because it's going to be a way I could just picture in the next issue some dialogue being referenced, how even though Bruce is fighting his father here, his blood father, his real father is the one that's dead in Alfred, and that's who he's really fighting for. So a lot of great stuff in this issue. Totally turned things around as far as City of Bane goes. How I said many times before, once that we got that issue where Alfred died, how there's some opportunities here to get some great emotional moments here with Batman, and to see him react in ways we've never seen before with losing his second father, really, and just how that's going to affect him, not only in the moment, but moving forward. And at least right now in the moment, it was exactly the reaction, and I think that felt appropriate, and I was expecting for Bruce to have. It was just very, very powerful. And again, just really perfectly captured their relationship as father and son. So Tom King knocked it out of the park with this one, mixed it in with the great artwork. So I'm going to give this issue a 5 out of 5. I haven't said that in a while for a Batman issue, but this one really was great. And regardless of how I feel of City of Bane as a whole, if nothing else, I'm going to remember it for this issue. So it's just very well done. And with that, I'm glad to say, ending on a positive note with our comic book reviews, which has been a while. So with that, though, I'll throw it to Dane for the outro, as always.
All right, let me just bring that up.
That's right, because I didn't send any show notes this time. I thought you would have had it memorized by heart by now, Dane. I'm disappointed.
It's something that I feel like I do, but I in reality don't.
Yeah.
Just go over to BatmanUniverse.net, Facebook.com/BatmanUniverse, Twitter handles at BatmanUniverse, show's Twitter handles at Bat-Fans Podcast, Tim's Twitter handles at TimG311, and my Twitter handles at DaneSaysBanana. Rate and review us on iTunes, and you can email the show at batfanswithoutpants@gmail.com. So with that, like we say at the end of every single episode, Tim,
we love each and every one of you with all of our Bat and Hooded Justice hearts.
Hooded Justice hearts, yeah. Hooded Justice, Mandalorian hearts. I don't know if she...
I said Mandalorian on the last one, so kind of felt I couldn't use it so soon. So.
I see. All right, well, we'll see you guys next time.
See you next time, everybody.
Scarecrow.